Hello, I'm Dr. Elsa van Duuren and welcome to part 4 of our video series on gout. We're going to be talking about the effect of diet on gout, the foods that you should avoid, the foods that you can eat, and the foods that actually help for gout. So what do we know about the foods and their association with gout as such, and what gives you an increased risk of gout? Now, I think unfortunately there's a lot of misinformation out there about foods that are maybe seen as being acid, and because of that they're going to cause problems with gout. But actually the role of diet is important in terms of purines within diet, but there are not as many foods that aggravate your gout as you might imagine. But certainly we need to take a look at what is important to avoid and what you need to eat in moderation. When is your urate level too high? It's basically, what's important about this is we've been talking about hyperuricemia, and that's anything that's above the normal. But what's really important in the body is when your level of urate is so high that your body can't actually keep the urate as such as a liquid, but starts forming crystals. And as we've said before in previous episodes of these video broadcasts, is that the crystals are what causes gout. So anything above what we call the supersaturation level of urate is where we start getting crystals, and this is when your urate level is over 0.4, and we talk about millimoles per litre is our measurement of urate in the body. So what foods can make gout worse? Basically the foods that have too much purine in them, remembering that purine is in fact the building block, or the building blocks of urate as such. And the other side of this is that your urate has to be passed out through the kidneys. So any type of food stuff that affects your kidney's ability to get rid of urate is going to affect your level of urate in your body. So what is associated with an increased urate? We know that purine-rich foods are mainly your protein sources, but what's interesting about this is that it's actually your animal proteins that are the ones that are problematic. Yes, mainly red meat. But on the other hand, yes, shellfish is also something that we know it contains very high purines and actually adds to your urate as such. But your plant proteins don't really do this. They don't seem to increase your urate levels. What we do see is that fruit sugar, or fructose, is also one of the things that you need to avoid, because it has a different effect. It doesn't add to your urate by increasing the urate as such. It actually affects the kidney's ability to get rid of the urate because of the way the kidney works to get rid of urate. So your sweetened cool drinks, your fruit sugars, things like your fruit juices are things that one needs to avoid. And I think maybe the important thing about diet is that old thing about moderation with everything. So we need to just eat what your body needs and not eat excessively. Alcohol is also an important factor in terms of gout, and a lot of people actually think that this is one of the big causes of gout. But what alcohol does is a couple of things. Is if you drink too much, you become dehydrated, which is one of the things that can precipitate an acute attack. But you also, the alcohol affects your kidneys in its ability to actually eliminate the urate. And certain forms of alcohol, like beer, has got a lot of purines in, so it adds to the purine load as such and increases urate. Luckily, there are also foods that decrease your urate, and the ones that actually have been shown to decrease urate are dairy products, coffee, and vitamin C. So even the vitamin C tablets that you take and that we all took during the COVID time can decrease your urate levels. So what are the recommendations in terms of diet? Well, we recommend that you limit your intake of red meat. You limit your intake of things like sugary beverages, fruit juices. Then you can eat moderate amounts of sweet fruits like grapes and things like that, moderate amounts of fish, and certainly avoid heavy drinking. What can help are things like your dairy products, as we said, coffee, vitamin C, and then just generally a healthy lifestyle. Sort of concentrate on the things that we know are healthy for you, like fresh fruit and vegetables, and not eating sort of too much in the line of rich foods and so on. Those are all just general rule of thumb type of recommendations that work for everybody. Can you treat gout with diet? And I think this is what people think, is that they can actually just change their diet, take out all the purines, and that it's going to actually do something. Unfortunately, it's got a very modest effect on your urate level as such. It's only going to reduce the urate level by a very small amount, by only about 1/10, and this is usually not enough to treat the gout as such. So treatment of gout is still that you need to take medication. And that's what we're going to be talking about in our next episode, is gout treatment as such.